Guys and dolls. I just watched the one we made last night before I went to bed. Um, the reason why my videos are so brilliant is because I connect to the soul of the human beings that I talk to, and they share in the dialogue. I do get, when I was talking about the two ladies I was talking to, so essentially from South Africa, she was talking to a friend, and I was talking to her friend about the spirit of Steve and how the spirit of Steve is in the book of Revelation, but the man who the book of Revelation is about is myself. Okay, my life story's in there. You won't find a black guy whose dad's name is Ralph and his mom's name is Mary. Okay, and he goes by Lord from his family, and he's the second coming of his father Ralph. And he has nephews named Michael and Gabriel that connect in prayer in all the Gospels, and he's born here in Las Cruces. So you won't find that. Okay. The story of Revelation is very unique to this individual, right? And so there's not a lot of information for other people to say, okay, who was born in Las Cruces, New Mexico, whose dad's name is Raphael, and mom's name is Mary, okay, has a sister named Mary who gave birth to the boy who's the spirit of Abraham and Muhammad in the Koran, whose name is Isaac Paul, because it's the 2 points of contention among the hypocrites that tried to assimilate the story of Muhammad's life in the book to themselves and not to him. Same thing the Vatican did with Jesus. So you know what I'm saying, which is why we have the Quran and why we have Revelation. So yeah, no, you can look at it any way you want to look at it. You don't tell me, okay, what's in Revelation. I tell you, okay? You don't read my life story and tell me what happened in my life, right? I tell you what John was writing down because it's about my life, right? So what I wanted to do now is we want to sit there and talk about fight or flee. Let's examine that further. Okay, fight or flee. Now, when you're dealing with cancer, and this happened to my cousin Nesta, and this happened to my mother, Mary Ann Murphy Parsons, right? Was they fought their cancer, okay, and succumbed to the fight because in both cases they were very stressed and very toxined by very, very, very evil people that wanted to kill them for their agendas, okay, because they were both, yes, because of the way my mom was and the way my mom, is my mom and related to me, it seemed advantageous to them to kill my mother from cancer for their socio-political economic agendas, okay, to get me to hate my father and to hate my family that was the same religious perspective as my father. Okay. That's why the Rockefeller Foundation participated in the death of my mother through cancer. Well, life's eternal, grace is infinite, and I want to win. It's like, well, if grace is infinite, life's eternal, you know that you're not honoring grace if you want to win. Oh, son of a bitch. Okay. They're stupid. I'm not. Okay. Mercury and Leo, everything's either smart or stupid. Yes, Mom, that's true. And when it comes to being an animal, okay, it's fight or flee, okay. When it comes to being a human being, why do I have to fight and why do I have to flee? I'm a human being. Okay, why are we fighting? Why are you suing? Why are you flying somewhere? Okay. Why do you need to be there? Okay, if you don't need to be somewhere, why are you going there? Okay. Why'd you leave? When I was a little kid, I used to sit and listen to a song that I enjoyed by a man named Marty Robbins. It was called Little Green Valley. And I would think, why the hell does he leave Little Green Valley all the time? Well, something that's inside of me, not hard to understand. It's anyone that listens to me sing, and if our hours are empty now, who am I to blame? You think if I was always here, our love would be the same. As it is, the time we had is worth the time alone, and lying in your side is the greatest peace I've ever known. Then do it more. I'm addicted to making the money for this lifestyle. I'd rather live a lifestyle free from addiction, lying by her side, which is the greatest peace I've ever known, than live a lifestyle destroyed by addiction, taking away my greatest peace, right? So you guys got to understand that. This is life's eternal and grace is infinite. Okay. So fight or flee is lack of faith in human capacity to understand truth but it has to be understood and then lived. And you can't be afraid of the animalistic people that say, no, we either fight or flee. That's not true. And the best way that you guys can help survive your cancer, so we can survive, stop, eliminate abuse, and then recover. Okay, a lot of you have cancer. Cancer cells. You have cancer cells. When it gets to the cancer cells, they're all related. Diabetes, yabba dabba. What's that thing called? Shingles. Yeah. All of it. Okay, it's all related. It's your body. Okay, and your body's trying to shut down from the toxins and the stress and the abuse. Okay. So that's what disease is. Okay. Disease is a reaction to an environment that's really out of whack and really out of balance, right? And it's hard. It's harder to recover when you inflict that out of balance on yourself. Okay. So when you drink alcohol, when you do drugs, when you do destructive behaviors, when you're an excessive compulsive person that's addicted to brain chemical addictions from large crowds, okay? Well, lots of people, most, like, Sheldon's character on Young Sheldon, you got perfect pitch, honey, you should be a rock singer. No, most rock singers are drug addicts, right? And then it's hard. It's from the pressure, and the people need a place to hide, and the stress, and the Johnny Rodriguez. I don't think a lot of people understand why they do the cocaine. It's an escape from the lifestyle that you're living. Country boy, you got your feet in L.A., but your mind's on Tennessee. Looking back, I can remember the time when I sang my songs for free, but you never really did because you were incarcerated, institutionalized, and indoctrinated into debt and trespass. You were born into it, okay? You only have a little bitty window. Oh, very young. Look what you're doing, but what will you leave us this time? You're only dancing on this earth for a short while. It's probably about kindergarten when you have to go, oh, God, this sucks, and we suck again. Life's eternal, grace is infinite. We suck again, right? So it's, at first you come and it's like, it's about, but you don't have all your time because the incarcerators and indoctrinators and stuff take mommy and daddy away. A child arrived just the other day. He came to the world in the usual way, but there were bags of planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away, and then we killed this city. We killed this city because it's a big shithole, right? And all the cities are. If the city is 250 people, or 250,000, or 2.5 million, it's a big shithole, right? You owe us money to live here. You got to find a way to pay extortion to the assholes that own the planet, right? That sucks. Yeah, it does. Okay. So it needs to stop. It's clinical insanity. It's utterly disgusting. It's vile. It's abusive. It's selfish. It's insane. Okay. Debt and trespass is absolute clinical insanity. Okay. And you can't flee from it, like I told my wife, Amy, in Sierra Vista. I'm going to run and live to fight another day. Where are you going to go away from institutionalization, indoctrination, and incarceration? Where on planet Earth, where you can go live away from all this shit? Even if you live with Joaquin Phoenix and the little blind girl and M. Night Shyamalan's Abomination, you're still dealing with it. You're just trying to hide from it. Okay, you're not stopping the pollution from Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. You're not stopping the people in the neighborhoods there from getting incarcerated and abused and murdered and raped. Okay, you're isolating your children and telling them this isn't happening. You're living in a cave, telling us how this is how we should live among the living. Okay. And then when Joaquin Phoenix's character gets hurt by the kid that wants what he can't have, Adrian Brody's character, and the girl that wants Joaquin Phoenix's character knows that the people in that isolated group cannot save him from dying from those injuries. She has to go to Philadelphia and find somebody that can save the man she wants to be with. We quilt this city. We quilt this city in a big shithole, right? So you got to understand, if you're an intelligent person, you can explain things simply to people to stop them from being complex, because the complex people are so much more intelligent than they are, right? So if something needs to be done, we'll get it done. We're intelligent enough to do it. And if it's excessive and compulsive and you need not be doing it, Albert Einstein and the ghost of Albert Einstein compels you, We're fucking with shit we shouldn't be. There you go. But we've got to make the bomb to kill them. If we don't have the bomb to kill them, if we don't have the quantum computing, their supercomputing, then they'll run ahead of us and they'll take over. But you can't tell quantum computing that economics is real and is necessary, because it won't accept it. That's what that little Indian girl was talking about on that video on YouTube. It doesn't give you the right answers. It's overrated. It's not overrated. It's more intelligent than you. Okay, right. It just can't, it can't explain it to you because you don't know how to communicate with it properly. And the documentation that you have was corrupted by the Vatican and the Quorum of the 12. So you can't, well, this is wrong. Well, yes, it's wrong, but it says in the book. But if the quantum computing could, I don't know if it could explain to you, because it's not human. Okay. What happens? Well, this says that. That's like I said with the Bible. If the first chapter says God's omniscient and omnipotent, and then the rest of the book, they have many times where they're taking the translation and turning God into a possessive pronoun or a first person. Okay. Then someone else wrote down the book that isn't living the book and aren't the people of the source of the book, right? Because God's omniscient and omnipotent, so neither a first person nor a possessor pronoun be. Right? Okay. So a good computer or a good Will Trent would figure that out in a heart, high potential would explain that to you in 2 minutes or less, But she doesn't. She sits there and goes, the insurance money is, okay, is money real? Okay, so why aren't we living the Lord's Prayer? If you're such a fucking genius, she's so gosh damn smart there. How much money does Debbie Allen need? None. She just needs to stand up for Psalms and Proverbs. And, that's how you go back to the faith that is real, that sustains us and obeys the natural laws that sustain us. Forgive debt and trespass, love one, eternal faithful peace. That's what Jesus is telling the people of Judea, to light the way so the Romans don't destroy the world through their possessive pronoun first person be. Right? Okay. So it's not hard. It's very simple. The more aggressive you are, and the more you commit yourself to the conflict over money, and then you get up and you go, going from USC to Boise to El Paso to Syracuse isn't going to end your problems. All right. It's not going to make you live like good people live. It's just trying to cover up those problems with more money in an environment that's cold as hell, right? It really is. Especially for a Californian. You got your feet in LA, but your mind's on Tennessee. Me, if I had to live in California, we all know Earl likes, the one place we went through when I was a kid was a place called Eureka. Okay. I'm sure it's probably as exclusive as Santa Barbara. Most likely, yes. It's in the Redwood Forest. It's in the northern part. It gets cold. Yes, but it's beautiful. Okay. It gets cold for California. Yeah, it gets cold. But it's a pretty place. Yeah. I liked Redding, but it was so goofy about all the Bigfoot shit. Like Roswell with all the UFO shit. Yeah. Yeah, it was just like that. It was like, oh boy. Yeah. Well, they got to make a buck, you know. Kids can't, this is sights in the city got people crying, sights in the city got people dying. We built this, we quilt this shitty with a big shithole, right? Because it's a big shithole. And so it can be Addie, Washington, or it can be Spokane, or it can be Seattle, right? You ain't living the Lord's Prayer, it's a big shithole. And fight or flee. Guys, the people that can perpetuate that and continue that, don't fuck them. That's what they do. Forget about them. Okay. Just forget about them. They come in and try to fuck. It's like I used to explain to Amy about Steffi. She's Hurricane Steffi. She ain't happy. Nobody's happy. Me and Patrick had to deal with her all the time. Now she comes by 5 minutes a month. And that's pretty much all you got to deal with her. Unless something gets in the way of her money. And then if you get in the way of her money, then she's going to give you hell till she thinks she fixed that money situation. It's just the way she was raised, right? And she's become so self-centered. And so, Kay always used to say, I'm not selfish, I'm self-centered. Okay. What's that? That's a pretty way of saying that you can't get out of the way of yourself. Okay. Or trying to be pretty about it. It's like, oh yeah. And then your life is always miserable because you can't, like I remember on Patrick's 3rd birthday, we went and celebrated at our apartment in Mesa and we were having a good time. And that was the day they decided on Patrick. And I told them that, well, you guys we'll talk about this tomorrow. It's Patrick's 3rd birthday. We celebrate his birthday. No, they kept bitching. Your mom called up the student loan and consolidated the loans, so law ended up paying for both yours and hers. I said, that sounds about right. Because Trisha was mad because she made Steffi do that. Steffi didn't want to do that. She wanted to go to community college. It was cheaper, and she wasn't sure what she wanted to do. But Kay was like, you're a good artist. You're going to go to Al Collins. Well, Al Collins is really butt expensive. Okay? Al Collins in 2 years cost as much or more than it did to go to Glendale Community College and ASU for 4 years, or in AU if she wanted to go to the mountains. All right. So Trisha was mad at her because she didn't consult Trisha on that and say, hey, why don't you just let her do that? She's going to school. She's working on what she wants to do, but no, Kay knows best. And Kay made her do that because she's a good artist and this will work for you. And Steffi wasn't sure if she wanted to be an artist. She goes, I might want to be a teacher. I might want to be a veterinarian. I might want to be a masseuse, or I don't know. She wasn't sure. And she's never sure. No. And then when she gets what she's doing, she's never happy because not everybody does everything she wants. So it's really hard. The only way you could keep Steffi happy, okay, is if you were Otto Preminger, you married her, and when I walk through a room, let them know you love me, so you love me, just love me, love me. That's what I want for Christmas. That would be the only way to keep Stephanie Elaine Gilliard happy. But the likelihood of that happening in hell, I don't think she'd get tired of being with the guy who owns the Clippers because she'd want to have sex with the cheerleaders, which he wouldn't mind. He said we could all do that together. But then when she wants to have sex with Blake Griffin, then he's out of here. Well, no, it wasn't Blake Griffin. It wasn't Scottie Pippen. That was Amy Hakeem Olajuwon. There you go. Okay. So, my thing, if you wanted to have sex with Hakeem Olajuwon, why didn't you marry him? If you can't make up your mind, well, you guess you better finally decide, pick up on one and let the other one ride. It's not always easy and not often kind, but you guess you better make up your mind. Me, I make up my mind, I take wedding vows very, very seriously. Okay. I take your wedding vows more seriously than you've ever taken your wedding vows. Most famous people, that should be obvious by now, right? Tell Sarah to, you've never taken wedding vows seriously a day in your wife. So, why you make jokes about my marriage, which has lasted longer than anyone you ever had. Yeah, the little blonde would be like, see why I married him? Okay. What can I say, right? What can I say? M to the A to the S to the K. Put the mask on yourself because you play with money. Okay, so there ain't nowhere to run and there ain't nowhere to head. What are you fighting and why are you fighting? Right? So you're a human being. You're not in the pecking order. You're not a finch. You're not a dove. You're not a hawk. You're not an owl. You're not a cat. You're not a dog. Okay, you're a human being. Okay, and you don't even have to read to listen to me to understand me. Okay, because one of my best friends in prayer that helps me understand his people better than Tony Hillman novels is a man named Manuelito. Okay. And he didn't read, but he understood the pictures and the signs that his parents left him, but he listened to what they said because they said the same things over and over again because they loved with perfect devotion and they knew that life was eternal and that the essence is infinite. We only got to talk to Barboncito so far once, but that was fun, wasn't it? He let you guys have it. Hey, get off. It wasn't so much get off my lawn as like get off my girls. If she wants to marry you, she will. And she'll make sure you deserve it, right? That's beautiful. Hey, that's the second. I like Barboncito. Hey, Deanna, anytime we want to sit down and talk to Barboncito, you give me a call, look it up. We'll have a barbecue and have some fry bread and recover from our chemical poisoning. And then things will only get better. And it applies in physics because life's eternal, grace is infinite, and truth is truth. And we'll be the living proof. Okay, be fun. You can meet Amy. We'll try to get her through. We'll try our best to get Amy and Steffi through. I don't know. Patrick was awfully mean to me last time, so his mom must be going through some real stuff. And Noah was awfully mean to me last time, so his mom must be going through it too. It's just not my fault that you guys live in Phoenix over money and don't stand up for me to stop us from getting screwed for money. We could all hang out here together and put the resources together and go live in Grant County and make sure the traffic's down at the Gila Original Center, especially from us. But y'all don't do that. But I can't blame Rockefeller for you all not getting together and doing stuff like that so we can all be comfortable through this hell. You have to take responsibility for your own actions. I'm not going to blame the Rockefeller Foundation for your actions. Okay? Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. What you see is what you get. Okay, I love you guys. All right, peace.